Welcome to another day of Vlogmas. Do you like how at the start I was able to say like welcome to Vlogmas day and now it's just welcome to another day of Vlogmas because I have fully lost track at this point. Well y'all, we're back to another season of drinking emergency because it's that time of year. Starting yesterday, I started to really feel that weird, almost like scratchy but numb feeling like on my tongue and like here. Cool beans. So I just filmed a whole other video, which is also gonna be part of my Vlogmas videos because I am gonna be posting it this year because it's kind of all about reviewing 2024, what it felt like to be an artist in 2024, and kind of all like the big lessons I sort of went through when it came to my business and being an artist, things that have really gotten my way or set me back, and things that I would change if I could go back knowing what I know now. So it turns out Rune is a very vocal cat. Rune, come here. I would love to start and finish the coloring process of Patrick Mahomes. Oh, yesterday Jacob and I watched the, what's it called?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas with the Lawrence brothers. It was the sequel to last year's Christmas movie that they did. Yeah, so Jacob really likes the Lawrence brothers, and now that I've watched them, like, you know, I've watched
They're funny.
I've watched the middle brother in Boy Meets World, and then I have heard a few podcast episodes that Jacob would listen to, and their podcast is really good, and I just like that they're brothers. They all seem like really nice guys. We watched their Christmas movie last year, and then we watched the sequel to it last night, and well, it was something else. The scenes where the three brothers were together and like being ridiculous, they made me laugh out loud because you could just tell like it seemed just like they were just being themselves, so. It is now 4:49 and I just finished tomorrow's Vlogmas. I haven't even started my Patrick Mahomes portrait. I just finished editing my Chiefs video, and at first it was going really quickly and then it started taking forever. I'm tired of looking at my screen, but I'm about to go and look at a screen again, so. But it's okay. All right, let's go. Oh, my legs. Oh. Now, if you watched a previous Vlogmas of mine, you might remember that I had mentioned that I really wanted to make this one of my more simplified coloring processes. Yeah, that doesn't happen. Started off that way, and then just like I was worried about, I ended up getting way too caught up in the details. And you know, whenever I go into my watercoloring process, I'll use a reference to get a sketch. But after that, I don't use a reference for any of my shading. I kind of just go into my shading based on, you know, what I know about makeup and where we put, you know, contour and highlight and how shadows work and stuff like that. But I really just wing it, and I think that's kind of like what makes it really fun for me when I am watercoloring, is because I'm just going with the flow and sort of doing just what I want to do. When I drew Morticia and Debbie, that's also the same thing that I did. I used the reference photo to get the sketch of them, and then after that, I pretty much just, you know, shaded in where I felt it made sense and what made the best impact on the image. And that's how the art kind of came out, not cartoonish, but like kind of more that direction than really realistic. But as you can see, soon I'm gonna start looking at the reference photo a lot for this picture, and that wasn't the plan. I had planned on just, I would draw him and using the reference photo, and then after that I was going to color in based on what I wanted to do and how I wanted to color in the shadows and the details and things like that. I was going to make it really simple and just kind of go with the flow and do my thing. And then the further along I go, the more I look at the reference and the more questioning I do of, the techniques that I'm using. And you can kind of see in real time, like you're going to see me, erasing what I just did over and over again and trying, a new thing, or like I'll, draw something, I'll color it in a certain way, and then I'll do the backspace and I'll do it again. And then I'll do the backspace and I'll do it again. And you're going to see me do that a lot in this video. And part of me wanted to shorten this and edit it and cut a bunch of this stuff so that you guys didn't have to watch such a long video of me basically questioning my coloring process and how I wanted to go about this portrait. But then I thought, well, you guys you can totally skip ahead if you want. And you can even on YouTube, there's a way in the settings to speed things up. And I do speed up a lot of this process, but then there are certain, areas that I show you guys kind of the real time process. But y'all can totally skip through all this if it's way too long. It's pretty long, but again, I think I just wanted to give you the option to see kind of in real time what it's like for me to draw a portrait digitally, and especially when I start getting into my head. I think it's kind of important for you guys to see, what it really looks like. It's not always super easy, flowy, simple, fun process. It's actually really frustrating sometimes. And again, I think because this is digital and I have the ability to hit the back button and erase something and not have to start completely over, it's almost that it gives me too much of that ability, and it gives me too many opportunities or possibilities or options. And so I end up second guessing and questioning, and I take way too long on my art because I have the ability to change things over and over and over and over again. Whereas with my watercolor paintings, I just kind of have to go with it, and I just have to deal with whatever I paint, and whatever I put down onto that paper. But yeah, so I wanted y'all to see, it's not always, the prettiest looking process when it comes to my art. And especially, I feel like when it comes to my digital art, it always takes me longer, and I always question everything, way more when I'm drawing digitally than when I'm using watercolors, which you would think it would be the opposite. But again, I think it's because digital gives me too many options. Now, I'm also going to say that in this video, I really, really do not like how he is looking. And I actually was really worried about, am I even capable of finishing this art piece? And if not, what does that mean about my talent? And what does that mean about my ability to draw people? And I was really getting down on myself while drawing this and while coloring this, because as you can see, or at least I think you can probably see, because I can see it, that doesn't look like him. Now, I know we're at the beginning stage of shading and all that, and the shading can really, really change a face, it's similar to makeup. It can really change the structure of the face if you know where to place things. But I was just feeling so down on myself because he was looking so strange in this picture. And no matter what I did, it was like I could not make him look like him. But again, you know, I went into it really wanting it to be a simplified drawing, and I really wanted it to be more of like a very, very stylized portrait. And per usual, like I said, I was afraid I would do, I go way off from being stylized, and I start to go in the direction of trying to make it as realistic and close to the actual reference as possible, which, you know, at the beginning of making art, when I was really, really into drawing like celebrities and characters that already existed, I was so focused on making it look just like the person, getting every single shadow and highlight as accurate as possible. And then, especially once I started doing watercolor, I started to realize how much more fun it was to just kind of interpret it my own way and make it look just how I wanted to make it look, and not try to like really match the shadows and highlights of a reference photo. And so what's weird is like with this piece of art, I kind of went back to my old ways, and I went back to I went backwards almost. Now, I have, at this point of recording this voiceover, I have finished this piece, and I really, really like how it looks. It looks really good. I will say that. I'm definitely happy with it. Whereas I really was thinking at this point, I was going to have to just put this down and just call it quits and basically never look at it again. But I was able to really manipulate things, really rework structures of his face, and I like it now. But it just, you know, it went in a direction I was not meaning for it to go, and it's a little, you know, like, there are certain techniques that honestly, it's like, I think I really want to start kind of putting this into more of my art, like really having those rough, like brush kind of texture looks like around his eyes that you can see right there. I actually really like how that looks, and being able to see the texture of the brush. So I kind of want to start incorporating that more. But besides that, it's like, again, just the fact that I was trying so hard to get it as accurate as possible to the reference photo feels like I was going backwards in my art process and how I've been doing things, and how I've learned to kind of just go with whatever I feel is best, regardless of what a reference photo looks like. So I don't know. I think maybe this was a good learning experience for me. But in the next Vlogmas, or in 2 Vlogmases from now, you'll see the finished product, and you'll see how different he looks from this point to what you'll see in another video. One thing I definitely learned though, with how much I was hating this, is I had to keep telling myself, one bad art piece, or, you know, one unsuccessful drawing does not dictate whether or not I can make art and whether or not I'm an artist. So if you're kind of feeling like me sometimes, and I just feel like that's a very, you know, common thing for any artist, or honestly any creative person, whenever you have like a lot of good stuff that you've created, and then you have that one thing that just doesn't come together well, and you really don't like how it turns out, it can like override all the good things that you did make. Just that one bad piece can override all the other good pieces. Just remember, one bad piece, or one piece that doesn't turn out the way you expected, does not dictate your talents. Also, I do plan on, oh, there was Ricky. Also, I do plan on, in the new year, having a full entire like tutorial type video where I tell you guys and show you guys exactly from start to finish how I create a rough sketch, like from a circle and some lines, turning it into a face. And then I'll have a whole other process video of how I go about my coloring process and kind of like my thought process, what's going on in my mind when I make certain decisions. And I'll actually like talk it out with you guys so you can kind of see like or hear what my thought process is when I do go about coloring portraits. I feel like the latest videos or the last few videos that I've filmed haven't really had any like holiday, Christmassy, wintry kind of feel things, elements to them. So I was just gonna really quickly show you guys some of my favorite cozy winter holiday books. The bookshop on the corner, this is by Gilligan. It's very cozy. It does not take place at Christmas time, or I don't even think it takes place in the winter, but it's very, very cozy. And then if you're into autobiographies or biographies, or if you're into like vintage Hollywood black and white films, and if you know Maureen O'Hara, which she was in Miracle on 34th Street, which is my all-time favorite Christmas movie ever made, this book is one of my top autobiographies, biographies, all of that stuff. It's Maureen O'Hara, 'tis herself, but like there's a whole chapter on her filming experience on Miracle on 34th Street, and they all had just like a really wonderful, magical time. Another one, if you're into like old Hollywood, autobiographies, biographies, blah, 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 there is this one, the name above the title. This is Frank Capra. I hope I just said that right. He was the director of a lot of really huge old films. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, Arsenic and Old Lace. But the reason that I wanted to pick this up is because he directed It's a Wonderful Life. The one that I will be reading this season before Christmas is Agatha Christie's Hercule Poirot's Christmas. I love murder mysteries, I love Agatha Christie, and I'm really excited about this one. And at first I was like, I don't want to read about murder on Christmas, but when you read the description, it sounds like the person that was murdered was not a very good person anyway, so it's fine. Look at this baby. Look at this girl. Okay, this is one of those hairdos that it looks way better in person than on camera, but I was editing this video and then I realized I didn't like end it in any way that made any sense at all. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I'll see you tomorrow. Love ya!